building your trade ideas off of the daily, off of the 60-minute chart, using, the 30 or the 60 to actually draw your levels. And then all you're looking for on the lower time frames is confirmation of this level actually holding. Hey everybody, Aiman and Simon back. Today we're coming at you guys with a video on the stock trading simulator. So we're going to walk you through a little bit of a replay on a stock that we traded earlier this week, so on DKNG. But before we actually dive into the daily analysis and some of the execution and how we'd go about trading DKNG on this given day, I just wanted to point out a couple things. So number one, if you guys head to stocktradingsimulator.com, definitely recommend signing up in the bottom right hand corner with your email. Aiman and I email out weekly, call it quote unquote homework, with great trade ideas to actually practice after hours, as well as our corresponding explanations and how we would kind of handle the technical analysis as well as the execution side. So that's where DKNG is coming from. That's on this week's email blast. So definitely recommend subscribing there. And then the one other thing that I wanted to mention before we kind of kick off and dive into the technical analysis side of things is if you guys do have any feedback. So, we've been seeing a lot of people using the stock trading simulator. It's an awesome free tool. If you guys have any feedback for, improvement or in your own experience using it, please email us at feedback@stocktradingsimulator.com. Or obviously feel free to email Aiman or I directly as well. So obviously my email is simon@bearabletraders.com and Aiman's is aiman@bearabletraders.com. But without further ado, let's dive into DKNG. So Aiman, maybe I'll hand it off to you, and I'd love to kind of get your analysis on the larger timeframes.
Yeah, hey everyone. So DKNG was one of the stocks in play last week. The reason we chose DKNG for playing is how clean the daily chart around here. You can see that it's on a clear downtrend. There is a clear level around here at 47.24, kind of a descending triangle, and it broke that level. After the breakout, it pulls back on the next couple or 3 days, and the previous resistance from 25th of October starting to act, previous support at 25th of October starting to act as a resistance. 9th of November, it dumps down closer to the low of the range, and this is basically today's candle. Looking at this overall picture on the daily chart, you could expect a continuation play, and you could expect that today's candle is more likely to be a red candle. Now, taking a look at smaller time frame, which is the 30-minute chart in this case, you could see how clear the level around here is at 43.09, and that's the level which we have drawn around here in advance. This level is expected to be a level of resistance. So a plan to play this one on smaller time frames would be to wait for a pullback into 43.09 and play it off the bounce of 43.09 to the downside. Once you have built the plan on the bigger time frame, we're going to the smaller time frame, and Simon will walk us through the execution on the smaller time frame.
Yeah, thanks, Aiman. So yeah, as Aiman said, that level and the level selection on the 30-minute chart is quite key, right? You see the 43.09 level. It's not selected off of the lower time frames. You're looking at the price action and the retest, right? So you have the wicks at the open on the 30-minute chart as well as in the after hours and pre-market. So when you jump to the lower time frames, kind of what I'm looking for is additional confirmation. So really analyzing the price action as the level is approached if you're trading it after the open. So therefore you're not using limit orders, you're actually manually entering. And you can see a fairly overextended move here on the 1 minute chart through, major moving averages, even the 200 SMA. And you can see the 1 minute chart pushing through. Same thing on the 5 minute chart, right? This looks like a great long play if you're playing it within the scope of just looking at the 1 and the 5. And that's why Aiman and I always kind of recommend that time frame confluence idea of, building your trade ideas off of the daily, off of the 60-minute chart, using, the 30 or the 60 to actually draw your levels. And then all you're looking for on the lower time frames is confirmation of this level actually holding. So, Aiman, if you just want to hit play, we can take a look at the 1 minute chart and analyze some of this price action approaching the level. So essentially what I'm looking to do is start my entry position, so my first size, after this level is essentially rejected. So I want to see what price does and behaves at around 43.09. So if it actually just blasts through the level on momentum, obviously we're not going to be playing it short regardless of our daily setup unless it rejects after kind of a fake breakout. So once again, we're waiting for some additional confirmation. Maybe we could speed it up a little bit to 10 times speed, Aiman. So once again, guys, you can play around with the speeds that you want to enter at. I'm looking for that first rejection to go short, basically 1,000 shares to start my original position. So we can see it just rejected there. So I'd probably take my first entry now. This is once again going to be with short share size. My stop is right on the other side of the level, about 43.11. I'll see how price action kind of behaves. Not right at the level at 43.09. I'd give it, a couple cent buffer. As I start to see the trade idea work, we can actually add to a position. This really depends on your trading style. But once again, because you're looking for confirmation of the level holding, usually there's a good opportunity to scale into your position and see the trade idea actually confirm its bias as the price action progresses. However, if you are adding, I still recommend leveraging wider stops and not tightening your stops, because remember, the technical level is still that 43.09 area, and that's where you want to kind of maintain your stop around. So as price continues to go on, this is where we go into profit taking. And this is something that, Aiman and I will have a dedicated video on in the future, but this really kind of depends on your trade methodology. What we always recommend doing is just reviewing your previous trade data, your sample sets, and see, how many R's do your trades actually go to? Or when you're going through your charts, is there a certain major moving average on larger time frames, like, for example, the 20 EMA on the 60, that price is bouncing off of? And that's really going to dictate and drive some of your profit taking. You can scalp some of the lower time frames if that's what your strategy is. But for Aiman and I, technically we use a combination of both ATR percentages as well as a fixed R target. The main thing you want to make sure that you're not doing is, if you have a lower win rate strategy, so something in the 30-40%, you don't want to be taking profits at 2R or 1R, for example. So traditionally, Aiman and I are aiming for a payoff ratio around, anywhere from 6-to-1 or 7-to-1. So that would essentially drive where we're aiming to take profits. So you can see from our original entry, down near where the price is consolidating right now, we could probably take some profits off as it drops into the moving average or VWAP. So right about now, that's about 7-to-1 roughly when you're looking at our first entry, especially we were able to get an add. And from this point onward, what you're able to do is just, analyze the 5-minute chart, look for pullbacks on the 5 if you're aiming to hold a longer position or trade into the afternoon, or even swing trade, a small portion of your position. So yeah, guys, that's kind of everything as to, some of the signals that we look for. What were we looking for on the daily on DKNG? How do we go about drawing, the level on the 30-minute chart? What price action actually confirmed that there was a level there? And how did we go about, scaling into a position after the open? As always, guys, we'd really appreciate, liking this video, subscribing to the BBT channel. Feel free to drop a comment below if you guys have any questions or want us to kind of cover a topic in a future video. We'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And again, this is just a quick way of how we're using trading simulator. There are a lot of other ways you can pick this strategy. You can trade any other strategy. And the most important thing is just to follow your rules. Spend enough time in the simulator. You need a lot of trading hours before you are consistent and before you figure out what strategy you want to play. If you enjoyed this video, as Simon said, please like, share, subscribe, put a comment with your questions down there. If you have any questions, email me or Simon. You can see the Twitter handle of me and Simon at the bottom right corner. You can feel free to follow us to find more similar trades if you want to practice on. Have a great day, everyone, and bye-bye.